Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah. It is the end of July and that means it's time for another reading wrap up, and this month I did not do a mid-month one because I have only read 3 books this month. It was a very strange month for me when it came to reading, and so I just didn't have the amount of books to justify making a mid-month one, so we just have this instead. So the first book I read in July actually took me 2 weeks. I literally started at July 1st and I ended on July 14th, and that is Lady Night by Tamora Pierce. This is a YA fantasy book. It came out in 2002 and I gave it only 2 stars. This is also the 4th book in the Protector of the Small series, which I just posted a reading vlog for not too long ago. Pretty much starting in April, I decided that I wanted to reread this series, as it's one that I read when I was in like middle school, maybe early high school, and I remember really enjoying, so I kind of wanted to see if it still holds up today. So you can kind of hear me talk about all of that in that reading vlog. Essentially, the series follows Kelladry of Mindolin, or Kel as she goes by. It starts when she's 10 and goes up through where she's 18, and it goes through her journey into becoming a Lady Knight. Like, the first book is called First Test, and then Page, Squire, and finally this 4th one. So it follows her through the years and all the struggles that she goes through, being only one of 2 females in this profession. Next, I read a book that the entire world seems to be hyped about, and that is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So, fun fact, I tried to buy this book in a bookstore and literally couldn't find a copy because it was sold out. So I had to wait 4 months on my library's waiting list to be able to read it through there, and I must say it was worth it. So this book is a retelling of the Greek myth of Achilles and Patroclus. It came out in 2011 and I gave it 4.5 stars. So like I just said, this book centers around Achilles and Patroclus. It starts out when they're children, actually, and pretty much follows them through their entire lives. We get to see them grow, we get to see them love, we get to see them experience loss, and we just get to feel all those emotions with them throughout their journey in the Trojan War. So pretty much into June and July, I've kind of been in a reading slump where I haven't been reading as much, and when I do read, I read slower, and I'm always just kind of like looking at the clock to see how much time has passed. This book brought me out of that, and I actually lost myself in this book, which was fabulous. Like, an hour would just fly by and it felt like nothing. So that felt so nice to experience again. So I also have a reading vlog for this book, wondering if it is worth the hype, and I have to say it is. It isn't exactly a 5 out of 5, like perfect, oh my god, amazing book for me, just because there are 2 scenes that just really didn't sit well with me and I was just very uncomfortable about. So that's what brought it down just the 1/2 star. But this is one where I really feel like anyone could end up really liking this. And yes, I did end up crying a bit at the end, especially with the last little paragraph. That's pretty much what triggered it. And I just thought that ending was gorgeous. There was some great character development, and just the reading experience of it felt so good. Do be prepared though, the beginning of the book pretty much straight up tells you how this is going to end. I pretty much already had my assumptions just based on how people react, and obviously the myth itself, like, if you know the myth, you already know what's going to happen. But there's prophecies from the gods in the book, and there's a ton of just in-your-face foreshadowing where someone says something and you're just like, oh my god, like, why would you say it like that? And so you know straight out of the gate how it's gonna go, and just the journey of getting there and what happens at the end is honestly just beautiful. This last book is actually an e-arc that I received through NetGalley and Rebellious Publishing, and that is The Liar of Red Valley by Walter Goodwater. This is a horror slash urban fantasy, which I'm kind of finding out that I enjoy the urban fantasy genre. This book is supposed to come out September 28th of this year, so about 2 months left to go on that. And I gave this a 4 stars. So I'm going to read the Goodreads description of it, as I think it does a pretty good job. So it says, "Don't trust the liar, don't go into the river, and do not cross the king. In Red Valley, California, you follow the rules if you want to stay alive, but even that isn't enough to protect Sadie now that she's unexpectedly become the liar, the keeper and maker of Red Valley's many secrets. In a town like this, friendships are hard won and bad blood lasts generations. And when not everyone in town is exactly human, it isn't a safe place to make enemies. And though the liar has power to remake the world with just a little blood, what Sadie really needs is answers. Why is the town sheriff after her? What does the king want from her? And what is the real purpose of The Liar of Red Valley?" So this is a book that feels a lot like an adventure. It feels like a quest, and it really reminded me of how quests are set up in an RPG, like where you have to go to a certain area, find an item, and that kind of leads you into the next direction of where you need to go. And it's kind of set up like that for the whole book, and so you kind of expect this epic conclusion. And unfortunately that doesn't happen, which is why this is a 4 star instead of higher for me. The ending does feel really rushed, and it just kind of feels like it skimps over things that you would think it would go in more detail about. It just ended so fast that I just didn't feel as satisfied as the journey that it took to get there. And like throughout the book, there's like this ominous character in the background where you're just kind of waiting for them to appear. And when they finally do, like everything's already over. They end up just being useless. And so I found that to be a little disappointing as well and confusing a bit. However, the setting in this book is fantastic. I love it. It's urban fantasy, so it's set in modern times, but there's like all these little magical things going on, and there's all these creature descriptions that I thought were perfect. Like I would love seeing this turned into a movie or a miniseries just to see those creatures brought to life, because it felt really like old god kind of Lovecraftian at some points. And I just thought the designs and how they were described and everything, some of them were pretty unique, and I really just want to learn more about this universe, honestly. Like if he comes out with another book that takes place in the same universe, I'll definitely read it just for more of the setting. So I think anyone that loves like adventure books and just going on a quest that's like life or death situation kind of thing, if you like any of those things, I think you'd really enjoy this. It also has horror as one of the genres, and it doesn't go quite as deep into that, but I would definitely say it does fit. And honestly, like it was really engaging for me. I kept wanting to know what was happening next. There's some side characters that I would love to read a book about on like just them alone, and so I definitely think this is worth a read. And that is it for July. Like that just feels so strange to me, but it is what it is. We'll see how August goes, I guess. But as always, thank you for hanging out with me. This is definitely a shorter than normal video, but hey, I'm not gonna complain about that. And until next time, bonne journée and au revoir.